Section 4.2, we are moving on to inequalities in one variable. An inequality is a statement that compares two expressions that are not equal by using an inequality sign. So down here I wrote the 4 different inequality symbols and what they mean. Notice if they're underlined, that adds or equal to the inequality. So that means if it has the underlined, it could be that answer. So for an example, if we had x is less than 3, that means 3 is not included in our answer. So anything smaller than 3. But if I wrote x is less than or equal to 3, that means we are including 3. Then over here, I put if it's just is less than or is greater than, no underline. When we graph them, we're going to leave an open circle. And if it has the underline, if it's equal to that, then we're going to fill in that circle with when we graph. So the solution is any value that makes the inequality true. So any number that we can plug in that works in our equation will be a solution to the equation. So example 1, we're going to solve and graph each inequality. So this first one, 12n is greater than 6. So we're going to treat this just as if it was an equal sign, and we are going to have to divide by 12 on both sides. So the 12s cancel, we have n, we bring down that sign, and 6 over 12 is the same thing as 1/2. So we're going to leave it as a fraction 1/2. You could write 0.5 if you wanted to. Then to graph, I always put 3 tick marks on my graph if I have to draw my own. And the middle one is what we got for our answer. And then fill in what's in front and what's behind that number. And then a circle goes at the number we got in our answer. And notice it says n is greater than 1/2. It doesn't say equal to, it's not underlined, so we're going to leave that circle open. And n is greater than 1/2, greater than gets shaded to the right towards the larger numbers. And that would be your graph. So for part B, we are going to do our upside down t problem that says h divided by 2. So the opposite of divide would be to multiply. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. We're going to have h here, and then we have to bring down that sign. -1 times 2 would give us -2. And then we have to put that on a number line. So again, I just put 3 tick marks, the answer. Oh, I did that backwards. The answer in the middle. So circle at our answer. This is equal to, that inequality symbol is underlined, so we are going to fill in a circle. And h is less than or equal to -2, so less than gets shaded to the left. So I want to point out a little bit here that the inequality symbol, as long as the variable is first, the inequality symbol works as an arrow and points in the direction that you have to shade. So that might be a little bit of a clue if you are doing things right or not. All right, so for part C, we are going to -12 from both sides. So we'll have m, bring our sign down. 16 minus 12 is 4. Make our number line. 4 is in the middle, circle at 4. This is including 4, it's equal to, and m is greater than or equal to 4, so we're going to shade to the right. And for part D, we are going to add 5 to both sides. So s is less than, -2 plus 5 would be 3. And 3 is in the middle, circle it. S is less than, it's not equal to, so we're leaving it open. The less than gets shaded to the left. So really nothing different than we've been doing for solving equations, except for remembering not to write an equal sign when you solve and adding your answer on a graph. All right, so when you multiply both sides of this equation by 2, we have 4 is greater than negative 2. Does it result in a true inequality? Yes, 4 is greater than negative 2. Now we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4 is greater than negative 1 times 2 would be negative 2. Is negative 4 greater than negative 2? No, that does not result in a true inequality. So if we multiply both sides by negative 2 and we flip the inequality sign, is it going to be true? So we're going to multiply by negative 2. And we're going to have negative 4, flip that sign, is less than positive 2. And I just realized up here I made a mistake. That should have been a negative 2, which would have made this a positive 2, but it's still not true up there. Okay. So we multiplied this by negative 2, and we flipped the inequality symbol. Is negative 4 less than 2? Yes, that's true. So therefore, the rule is whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality symbol to keep your answer true. So this example, we're going to have to divide by a negative 7. And I want to point out, this is the number that we look at for it to be negative. The one at the bottom, that's what we're dividing by. So if that's negative, then we flip over that sign. And 4.9 divided by 7 is going to give us 0.7, and a positive divided by a negative would be a negative. And then we have to put that on a number line. So circle, it is equal to, so we're going to fill that in, and it says t is less than, so we're going to shade to the left. And then we have to divide by a negative 5/6. We have y, we're dividing by a negative here, so I'm going to have to flip that sign over. 2 negatives divided by each other are going to be a positive. And 3/4 divided by 5/6 is 9/10. We have to put that on a number line. 8/10 would be the same as 4/5. And circle at 9/10, it's not equal to, so we're not going to fill it in. Y is greater than, so we're going to shade to the right. Okay. Part C, we're going to have to distribute that negative 3. So we're going to have negative 3x plus 12 is less than 18. We're going to minus 12 from both sides. So we're going to have negative 3x is less than 6. And then we are going to divide by negative 3. We're dividing by a negative, so our sign is going to have to flip. 6 divided by negative 3 is a negative 2. Circle at negative 2, x is greater than, so we're going to shade to the right. For this one, we're going to have to start with the distribution as well. We're going to keep that 5y, 2 times 3 would be 6, and 2 times negative 4y would be negative 8y. We can combine 5 and negative 8. So we're going to have negative 3y plus 6 is less than 330. And we're going to have to subtract 6 from both sides. So negative 3y is less than 324. And then we're going to have to divide by negative 3. We're dividing by a negative, so that sign is going to flip. And 324 divided by negative 3 would be negative 108. Negative 108 on my number line here. Circle. It's not equal to. Y is greater, so we're going to shade to the right here. Okay. For this example, we have k on both sides, and this 2k over 3, I'm going to cross that off and rewrite it. It's really the same thing as 2/3 k. So I want to move the smaller k, which is the negative k, so I'm going to add k to both sides. I'm going to add 1k. So I have 10 is greater than 5 plus 1 2/3 k. Then I'm going to minus 5. And I'm going to have 1 2/3 k on this side left over. And then I'm going to have to divide by that 1.5. I'm going to change it to a decimal just so it's easier to work with right now. I'm dividing by a positive, so I'm not going to flip that sign. And 5 divided by 1.5 is 3.3 repeating, which is 3 1/3. Now this is what I was talking about with the variable being in the front. We can't follow that arrow rule unless the k is in the front. So I'm going to flip everything around, and the inequality symbol is open towards the 3 1/3, so I'm just going to keep it that way. So 3 1/3, this would be 3, this would be 3 2/3. It's not equal to, and k is less than this, so we're going to shade in this direction, so the left for the smaller numbers. Okay, and then we're going to see one with a lot of fractions, some decimals mixed in. We're going to have to work on trying to consolidate those. So we're going to distribute this 3/5, so we're going to have 3/5 a, and 3/5 times 3 is going to give us, I'm going to leave it as 9 over 5 right now, and then our equal sign, or sorry, our inequality symbol, and then we're going to do 4.4 times 2, which gives us 0.8, and then 0.4 times a would be 0.4a, and then we have to get the a's on the same side, or we have to, if you wanted to, you could change to all fractions or all decimals, or you could just leave it like it is and work your way through. So 3/5 is the same thing as 0.6. So the 0.4 is going to be the smaller one, so I'm going to subtract 0.4a from both sides. And 0.6 minus 0.4 is going to give us 0.2a plus 9 over 5 is left with 0.8 on this side. Then I'm going to minus that 9/5. So I'm going to have 0.2a is greater than or equal to -1. And then I am going to divide by 0.2. And I'm dividing by a positive, so I'm not flipping the sign. And -1 divided by 0.2 is -5. So negative 5 goes here. A is greater than or equal to, so we're going to shade in and shade